This weekend, the Socceroos stunned Türkiye at the FIFA World Cup. Welcome to the Sports Playbook. I am Daniel, and we are Australia's weekly sports news podcast covering men's and women's sport. So here's everything that happened this weekend in sports. In football, the Socceroos win their first game at the World Cup. The Socceroos, they faced Türkiye, which going into the game, they were massive underdogs, especially for Group D. In particular, Türkiye were very confident in the media and expressing how much they thought they were going to win the contest. And this only increased when the Socceroos coach, Tony Popovic, chose 10 players to make their World Cup debuts in the starting team. The biggest one, Patrick Beach, the goalkeeper who took the spot from captain Matt Ryan, which at the time was a massive call, but Tony Popovic stuck to his guns, and we would later see why Patrick Beach was chosen for this game. During the first half, Türkiye applied massive pressure on the Socceroos defence, but the defensive wall stood tall. There was 5 defenders and 4 midfielders, and this meant a very close, tight-knit structure for defence, and Turkey couldn't get through the Socceroos, so they had to play up and down the wings. But then the massive momentum shift, a half chance through a long ball to Nestory Irakunda, a slight touch to his right, and he scores against the run of play in the bottom left-hand corner. 27 minutes in, Socceroos up 1-0. And the second half, Türkiye came out all guns blazing and all the momentum and attacking the Socceroos defence. But then another half chance against the run of play, and Connor Metcalfe scores in the 75th minute in the bottom right hand corner, and the Socceroos held on for a historic victory in Vancouver. It shocked the World Cup tournament as everyone had the Socceroos at the bottom of the group and they thought they had no chance. This is the first time the Socceroos have won the first match in the World Cup since 2006. So what's next? The Socceroos, they will face the USA on Saturday, the 13th of June at 5 a.m. This is the toughest test for the Socceroos to date, as they will face the host nation. So if you're in Australia, set those alarm clocks for 5 a.m. Come on, Socceroos. In basketball, the New York Knicks make history. For the first time in 53 years, the New York Knicks have won the NBA Finals. In Game 5 in San Antonio, the Knicks, they were riding high as they came off the biggest comeback in NBA Finals history from Game 4. They backed up that performance, beating the San Antonio Spurs 94-90 in Game 5 to take out the championship. Jalen Brunson from the New York Knicks scored a game high of 45 points. They took home the Larry O'Brien Trophy, and they'll be taking it on the biggest tour of New York. The streets of New York were absolutely rocking as they have waited over half a century to see their team take out the big one. In AFL, the Adelaide Crows send a warning shot. The Adelaide Crows defeated the dangerous Western Bulldogs by 57 points. And in the other games, the Geelong Cats return to their old winning ways. They defeated the Gold Coast Suns by 45 points. In the other matches, the Melbourne Demons beat Essendon by 45 points. North Melbourne got a crucial victory over the West Coast Eagles by 1 point. The Sydney Swans won by 3 points to Port Adelaide. The Brisbane Lions beat Richmond by 35 points. And St Kilda beat the Giants by 8 points. In the NRL, the West Tigers win their last game at Leichhardt Oval. As the West Tigers fans call it, the 8th wonder of the world, the Tigers hosted their final game at Leichhardt Oval before redevelopments are due to start. Whilst the Gold Coast Titans got an early lead, Jerome Luai, the marquee man, put the Tigers on his back and he scored 3 tries for the home side. The West Tigers won their final game at Leichhardt, 36-28 in front of a whole host of West Tigers fans. In the other games, the Dolphins showed why they are capable of being a top 4 side. They beat the Roosters 48-10, and the halves pairing of Cody Nikorima and Isaiah Katoa are definitely one of the most underrated halves pairings going into the back half of the competition. In the other games, the Rabbitohs beat the Broncos 48-6. The Rabbitohs posted a touching tribute to Jai Arrow and his family during the pre-game. They also wore special whiteout jerseys for Jai Arrow, and all money raised will go towards Jai Arrow and his family. The Sharks, they beat the Warriors by 2 points in New Zealand. Meanwhile, the Eels just got past the Raiders by 3 points. In cricket, Kane Williamson announces his international retirement. The greatest ever batsman to come from New Zealand has called time on his international career. It comes only one test into New Zealand's tour of England. And at 35 years of age, his career has spanned 16 years across both Test cricket and both white ball formats in one-day internationals and T20. For Kane, he made his debut for New Zealand back in 2010 against India, and he's become the go-to for New Zealand in many situations in multiple cricket games. For Williamson, he retires with a 54.06 Test batting average. No other New Zealand player with 20 plus innings holds an average above 50, which goes to show the absolute class of Kane Williamson. Congratulations on your career. In Formula One, Lewis Hamilton wins for Ferrari. George Russell started on the pole with Lewis Hamilton on the front row, but the race changed when the virtual safety car came out on lap 42 through a Fernando Alonso failure. But then Lewis Hamilton was able to get a free pit stop under the virtual safety car and came out ahead of George Russell and Kimi Antonelli. But after all that, the championship leader Kimi Antonelli failed to finish as his car came to a grinding halt at the Barcelona Grand Prix, along with Charles Leclerc, who also failed to finish. Lewis Hamilton wins his very first race for Ferrari, and it's Ferrari's first race win since Mexico Grand Prix in 2024. The rest of the podium was George Russell in second and Lando Norris in third, and Oscar Piastri, the Australian, finished in fifth. This is the first British podium since 1968, and your championship order is Kimi Antonelli still continues to lead by 41 points, but Lewis Hamilton is close in second position. In football, this is the quick wrap up for the FIFA World Cup. As it stands on Sunday, the 14th of June, Groups A to D have all played their first matches. So let's take you through the top two in each group. In Group A, Mexico and South Korea are your top two. In Group B, all teams have had a draw, but Switzerland and Canada are still in the top two. In Group C, Scotland and Morocco are at the top of the group, and for Scotland, they recorded their first win at the World Cup in 36 years. And in Group D, the USA are first and Australia sits second. As you can tell, there was a lot to unpack from the weekend results in sport, but we have a standout performer. Every week, I call out one athlete who has made us stop and pay attention. This week, it's in cycling, and it's Luke Tuckwell. The Australian has made the cycling world stand up and pay attention. Luke, in only his first year on the professional circuit for the Red Bull Bora Hansgrove team, he has claimed the yellow jersey in the Tour Auvergne Run Alps race. As we record this podcast on Sunday evening, he holds the yellow jersey and the lead by over 45 seconds. But the final stage, a 113 kilometer stage, has a 19% gradient, but Luke is a climber, but he has the world's best riders coming for that yellow jersey. This race that Luke is currently leading is better known as the precursor race before the Tour de France, and Luke is absolutely impressing. So if you're an Australian fan or a fan of cycling, remember the name Luke Tuckwell. You are the Sports Playbook standout performer from the week. So now we head into the state of play. In the NRL, the Panthers still lead the competition, followed by the Warriors, the Seagulls, and the Dolphins, who now enter the top 4, followed by the Sharks, the Roosters, the Knights, and the Rabbitohs to round out your top 8. In the AFL, Fremantle and the Sydney Swans sit on top of the AFL ladder. Fremantle hold on to first position as they have better points differential. Swans sit second, followed by Geelong, Melbourne Demons, Hawthorn, and the Adelaide Crows. That rounds out the top 6, followed by the Brisbane Lions, Western Bulldogs, Gold Coast Suns, and St Kilda, who round out the wildcard to top 10. And in netball, the Adelaide Thunderbirds sit on top after the final round of the regular season with 52 points to their name, followed by the Melbourne Vixens, the West Coast Fever, and the Melbourne Mavericks, which means next weekend is your finals. The Adelaide Thunderbirds will face the Vixens in the major semi-final in Adelaide. Meanwhile, the West Coast Fever will host the Melbourne Mavericks in Perth. That is for your minor semi-final. The winner goes straight through to the prelim final. And the final ladder positions for netball are as follows. The Swifts finish in 5th, Sunshine Coast Lightning in 6th, in 7th is the Firebirds, and the Giants got their first victory of the year in the final game. So that is your Monday wrap. It was quite the episode and quite the weekend. But luckily, I'll be back on Thursday with the week's big stories and everything coming up this weekend. A reminder that State of Origin is on Wednesday, so make sure you don't miss that. So until then, follow the Sports Playbook. We are your go-to for fast sport news without the noise. If you're listening to the podcast, thank you so much, and please make sure to send this podcast to one more person who's never listened to the Sports Playbook before. They can get their fast sport news, which is fast, factual, and without the noise. We will see you on the next episode.